Hello friends, this is Worm, and today we're back with another episode of Hot Take Tuesday, and today we have a scalding hot take, and that is that Saltagreppo is right 99% of the time when it comes to his balancing suggestions. Now, I know everybody has a tendency to get up in a tizzy, even I do, even I'm like, Saltagreppo, blah, blah, blah. But if we take a step back and look at it, like, he's right. And I think that everybody gets so mad. The reason why people get so mad at Saltagreppo is because they feel like the dev team actually listens to him. And I mean, if we're being honest, guys, you're crazy if you think that any content creator has sway over the Destiny 2 development teams, like nerfs and buff situations, right? Like, we have absolutely no say. Like, they're going to buff and nerf what they can and want based on data. And Salt is his opinions on what should be changed, nerfed, buff, stuff like that. Those come from a data standpoint, you know. And one of the big ones I'll allude to here is his call for nerfing Divinity. And this one got a lot of people really upset. They say, oh no, Divinity's fine the way it is. It doesn't need to be nerfed. And, you know, he's just a try-hard scrub that blah, 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 blah. And of course, like literally like a few weeks later, like maybe 3 weeks later, something like that, Bungie announced that they were going to be nerfing Divinity. And I think that's where a lot of the community sentiment that content creators and streamers and stuff like that have sway over the Destiny 2 dev team comes from, but it doesn't. And his points were valid. Like, Divinity was something that literally everybody was using. Like, if you joined a raid team, somebody had to use Divinity. And it got to a point where various encounters were being designed around Divinity usage, like boss health pools and stuff like that were being designed with Divinity in mind, and it got to be problematic. And so Bungie said, hey, we're going to keep its functionality of being a free crit spot, but we are reducing the amount of damage bonus that players give, or I should say a debuff, I guess. The amount of damage debuff that a target has when using Divinity by, what was it, like 20%? Because I think it was originally like 35% damage debuff, and now it's down to 15. So they reduced it by 20% or something like that. Like, lots of people were upset at that. And we did a video talking about that whole situation a long time ago. We're not going to talk about all that again. But Salt is right from an analytical standpoint. Like, when he talks about things that need to be buffed and nerfed, and he's not right every single time, but like I said, like 90% of the time he hits it right on the head. And again, it's from an analytical data point. He talked about Banner of War being mostly fine where it was, but it was a little bit too good. Bungie felt the same way. Bungie ended up nerfing it. Bungie nerfed it so that it still had the same power that it does. You know, once you're at ×4 stacks, it's giving you the same amount of health. It's giving you the same, you know, health, what is it, ticks per stack. You know, at 1 stack it's once every however often. At 4 stacks it's however often. I don't know the exact, like, you know, timing of the ticks and stuff like that, but they just reduce the ease of getting to that ×4 stack. And that's something that, like, if we sat down and we all looked around the room, no, we don't want it to happen, but the reality is that a healthy balance for the game? Absolutely. Is Divinity being nerfed when it was nerfed a healthy balance for the game? Absolutely. And again, Salt's the stuff that he says, if you think about it, if you set yourself aside and you think about it, he's right. The stuff that he talks about is for the balancing of the game. For example, you know, let's say he came out with a video saying that target lock SMGs are too busted. Would people freak out? Oh yeah, I'm sure, absolutely. Now, we already know that target lock SMGs are getting nerfed, but let's pretend that Bungie never said that, blah, blah, blah. But, like, it's something we all know inside the Crucible that target lock SMGs are problematic. They just are. They require a much, you know, or I shouldn't say a much, they're a lot easier to use, and they get incredibly fast TTKs on players that really shouldn't exist in Destiny 2 for an SMG. They also push out ranges, you know, to 30 plus meters, which is ridiculous. And if Salt came out and said that, like, the whole community would be up in a tizzy, like, oh my god, like, you know, like, no, you're just trying to take away the casual players' fun. Like, no, it's not about the casual players. It's not about the hardcore players. Like, this is about game balance. This is about game balance. You know, the same thing can be said with Restoration, you know, before it got nerfed. restoration was incredibly problematic because it literally allowed you to just exist forever. I mean, I don't know if y'all remember, but back in the very, what is it, season, I believe season 16, season of Haunted, whatever season that was, when Solar 3.0 first came to us, with the restoration in its state that it was back then, and some stuff, like, you could literally just stand there and survive forever. And that was kind of ridiculous. Is taking that away bad for Destiny 2? No, I don't think it's bad for Destiny 2. And like, you're crazy if you think that, you know, the stuff that Salt says is out of this world wacky or out of line. Like, listen, like really think about it. You know, if you see Salt say something, you know, say, oh, this needs to be nerfed, that needs to be nerfed, listen to his reasons why, because he's not somebody that just goes out and says, hey, we need to nerf this and then leave it at that. Like, he gives on his Twitter, he gives very detailed reasons as to why he thinks that, so say, Divinity, for example, needs to be nerfed. Very detailed reasons why these certain changes need to come about. And if you read through them, they make sense. And if you just, like I said, just take a step back and think about them. Again, nobody likes when Bungie comes in and nerfs stuff. Like, I didn't like the Divinity nerf. Why? Because Divinity made boss killing so much easier. But making boss killing easier is that healthy for the game? I wouldn't really say so. And honestly, if you play as much as I do, boss melting shouldn't be all that difficult. Unless you're with a team of players who aren't, you know, maybe as skilled in Destiny 2 or don't have the same loadouts and stuff like that. But, you know, as an individual, my damage output is still incredibly high without the need for Divinity. And so it's one of those things, like, it's not affecting me. And when these things get nerfed, they get nerfed because they need to happen. And as frustrating or aggravating or whatever you want to call it as it is, these nerfs, these buffs, stuff like that need to they need to happen. And Salt is the one that he's not afraid to take the brunt of the, you know, finger pointing and the death threats and so to speak. Like, he'll say what he thinks needs to be changed. He'll give his detailed points on how it should be changed, and then he leaves it at that. And of course, what Bungie does is totally irrelevant to what he says or thinks. Like, again, Bungie makes their own decisions, not based on content creators, not based on, you know, what YouTubers say, what streamers say, stuff like that. Like, they do it based on their own data that they've been collecting, blah, 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 stuff like that. So yeah, there's your Hot Take Tuesday. Salt is right whenever he talks about the things that he feels need to be nerfed and buffed. It's just that players have this natural tendency to disagree with anybody who's a content creator and who has a lot of time played in Destiny. But yeah, that being said, I want to hear your thoughts on this matter. I know that a lot of you that watch this video probably don't like Salt. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I love the guy or anything. And like, yeah, like, I don't like that he calls out things like the Divinity nerf. But at the same time, take a step back, think about it. It needed to happen for the health of the game. But yeah, tell me your thoughts on all that stuff. Of course, if you like today's video, drop a like, helps the channel a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content. And do me a favor, go follow my Twitter, because I'm trying to post over there more often. And watch the videos you see on the end screen here, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you'll like them, guys. I'll see y'all next time. Bye for now.